All right, Pat, we're live.
That's right, Austin. It's good to be back. Another live stream. It's been a while, right? But we're excited for you all to join and just to talk some soccer, right?
Yeah, and last USMNT game day of the summer too. So, not the best opponent tonight, right? In El Salvador, they've got some issues going on as well. So, it'll be interesting to see kind of how we lay out our team tonight versus them. But hey, anytime we can watch the USMNT play, it's a good day, right?
Yeah, I think so. And just after that Grenada game, right, that beatdown, which we can certainly dive into, it wasn't the most entertaining game, right? It was just kind of, I don't even know how to describe it. Just one of those games where there were tackles flying everywhere. The tactics were just kind of astray. It was kind of a free for all, if you'd say.
Yeah.
I think somebody on Twitter or just social media, many people probably compared to like a wild training ground session. So yeah, I think this game, Austin, will be. I heard the pitch, the conditions aren't great,
Yeah.
but El Salvador is a little bit tougher, right? They always give us a good competition contest, regardless of the issues there. So I'm excited to kind of keep this Nations League streak alive.
Yeah, honestly. And I think, trying to I don't know, make this a little bit more important of a game than maybe it feels like. But again, it's a game on the road, right, in an unfamiliar situation. So Qatar is going to be very different for us. Obviously, the level of the pitch is going to be a lot better. But again, I think it's just playing in an unfamiliar situation that could also be kind of a good test for us tonight too. So yeah, I'm excited, dude. I feel like we're so close to the World Cup now, right? That we only have 3 games at least scheduled right now until the World Cup. And we were talking before off camera, like this could be the last time before we find out who's actually on that World Cup roster, right? Because that September window is really going to be like the core group of guys that we're going to bring to the World Cup, or at least that's how you think Greg Berhalter will go about it. So this could be the last time we see some of, these names in camp. And this is the last time for them to kind of prove to Greg that they're worthy of a World Cup spot.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. It's such a strange window because obviously the 2 friendlies were fantastic in terms of the opportunities some of these guys had going against really high level competition. That was fun to watch. I had a really great time, even though some of the halves there's so many changes, right, that players weren't getting in maybe the best rhythms and took some of the flow out of certain games. But at the same time, it was really great for player evaluation. So I'm pretty happy with the certain games against Morocco and Uruguay that we were able to play teams of that level and get those games. I think that was really important, for our growth. And then obviously Nations League is a little bit different. We won't be going against teams that are be playing this kind of low block or a certain style, but always a good test. And yeah, Austin, I think the biggest thing would be, and I'm sure we'll dive into it here as well, the stock's up and down, but there were a lot of players that we were happy and surprised also, that were called in to this camp and with this group. Obviously, you're starting at the top with Haji, right? And then even the absence of Pepe, right, given some rest. That's good to see, Weston back, Luca getting in there again, getting some great chances and appearances. Yeah. And then you're just thinking a lot of the center backs too. And let me know if I'm skipping anyone, but CCV, right, EPB, all the other 3-letter acronyms I can think of, Scally. So yeah, it was kind of a breath of fresh air to have some of these guys that we've all been clamoring for to really get the chance, see if they can kind of duke it out there in training, right, in these games to give Greg more to think about.
Yeah, and I think something else you saw from this, round of games so far, right, is more team camaraderie, right? It's been about 2 years or so where I feel like we've kind of turned a corner and started to build more of that team camaraderie. And over this past year, obviously, that's grown a lot more too, due to all the tests we've had to weather, right, and overcome. So I thought it was really positive. That Morocco game really just encapsulated a lot of how I'm hoping we play, going forward. A lot of fun attacking, football or soccer. And then, the Grenada game too, right? Obviously again, lesser opponent, so we should, have that asterisk there. But it was good to see the boys, go out there, score, feel confident. Jesus Ferreira looked great in that game and looked comfortable, confident. And I think it's really important just to have some of these good moments right before the World Cup, just to build that confidence. Again, just grow with each other, right? This is all about the journey. And I feel like this window has really been, a journey, right? You hear the players off the field playing Pokemon with each other and
really
FIFA
cool
tournaments and stuff, right? And yeah, this is like a good 2 to 3 week window that they're together. So I think that's really positive.
I think that is, and before we kind of jump into our other topics, I just want to.
Ben's got a good question.
Welcome to the stream here. He's got a question, Austin. I want to get your take too. How do you think playing Pule as a false 9 like Foden with Man City would work? So it's funny that before I pass it to you, that we were just kind of talking about Ferreira's role and just with Berhalter's system. It's not really. I almost was kind of thinking Man City. Obviously, you can't really compare that, but just in terms of the way they play and what we're set up to do, and obviously now they have Holland coming in, so interesting to see how that works. But they never really played with a traditional 9, and neither have we really. We've seen some of these different players come in, and your PFOX or some of your more, again, big man targets, they just don't really maybe fit in the system. So I want to get your take on that in this question.
Yeah, and I think you likened Jesus Ferreira almost to Roberto Firmino in terms of skill set. Maybe not the exact way we play him right now, but yeah I mean, in terms of his skills, especially when you look at, like you said, some of those other 9 options, I definitely think he'd be more, he'd be better in that position, right? Someone who can come back and combine with midfield, again, help Christian Pulisic get upfield more, right? And kind of isolate people one-on-one on the wing. And also when you look at some other options we have, right? Tim Weah is also another guy who's great at getting in behind players and, receiving the ball on the way to goal. I think, I think having a false 9 could be a really interesting little wrinkle in Greg Berhalter's system right now. It seems like recently we've been kind of rotating 2 players up top, right? It's usually been like Pulisic and Weah kind of sitting up there. And, especially like last game, you saw Jesus come back and into midfield a little bit more with Musa even dropping deeper, into midfield, almost into defense at times. So, I think it would be a really interesting wrinkle, Pat. What do you think?
Yeah, and also I believe Pulisic with Tuchel, right? Chelsea has played in similar roles like that. I think he's played under Lukaku a bit in certain times, and then obviously Chelsea's changed their formation so much. It's hard.
He's been a utility knife.
I don't like that wing back spot at all. So I'm glad Benjamin mentioned the false 9s. That's better than the wing back. I think it's interesting. I would entertain it, only in the fact that it just, again, back to, I just don't see even Haji, right, who's having a pretty good season, but PFOC, right, everyone's clamoring for him to come in, and honestly, even like an Altidore, like from the past, right, would he even fit in this type of, it's interesting to kind of speculate and think about because of how much we play, through the wing, right, with Timo coming in, Pulisic kind of drifts in and shoots out to the wing, and how much we kind of utilize that and kind of play around having that traditional kind of striker, right? So I think the false 9 is an interesting option because you could make some skill sets and comparisons to Foden with some of our players that we have.
Right. No, I fully agree. And Pulisic would be another option, right? He would be a really cool option too. That's what Ben was referring to as well. So
Austin, I know people have been saying, and we'll kind of move on to our next topic after this, but people have been saying Timo, right, for the false 9 or
we've heard some of that.
I don't think he likes. I think he said in an interview he doesn't enjoy that spot, and he seems like he really enjoys being out in the wing, getting in behind those lines and playing some great crosses in and coming in from those angles. So sounds like personally that's not his favorite, but obviously he has to do a job for the team too. I'm sure he would be eager anywhere up top.
You know who's the person who's perfect for a false nine in terms of
Oh,
getting back and defending?
can't wait to hear it.
Josh Sargent. Oh,
Oh,
no.
yeah. Best striker in the championship.
Yeah, let's hope. Here's to hoping
Oh,
next
they're going
year.
up. They're promoted. Just like Fulham, they're shooting right back up, Austin.
That's right. Anthony's back in
Sure.
the Premier League next year. Same with
Yeah.
Tim Ream. Hey,
And Tim Ream, the GOAT.
championship player of the season at center back. So anything's possible.
Right.
So you kind of talked about it earlier, Pat. Do you want to start us off? We kind of want to go stock up and stock down this window. So do you want to give us, your first player who their stock went up?
Yeah, so I think in terms of stock going up this window, I can even just really start up top, and I don't want to hijack yours, but I think you could still say Ferreira. I think
Yeah.
in terms
Yeah.
of the other attacking options we had. So obviously Grenada he punished, but hey, goals are goals, and sometimes a forward needs games like that to really get going. You've seen in the past with Bobby Wood and some of the other players that we've had through this program. Just have those games right to get the string of goals and then just explode from there. So aside from that, all the little things he does, he's been almost in as bad luck as if you watch Chelsea with Timo Werner, where he was starting to get into good form or good runs, but he hit the crossbar like 2-3 times. He'd have these great runs and just like stumble, or just the last minute something would happen. I felt like things were just so close, and all he needed were these goals to really kind of take that break. So the things that he does in terms of connecting play, working well with the wingers, making those runs, opening up a lot of spaces. You saw that in the friendlies too.
Yeah.
The way he was able to pull defenders and center backs out to just open those spaces for even Tim to come in for that powerful shot he had, right?
Yeah.
Against Uruguay. So just examples like that, it really highlights his importance. So maybe he's not putting 2-3 goals in, but he's still doing so many other things that is crucial to a player in this system.
Yeah, and that's the one thing I was really impressed with this window. Again, against some quality opponents too, right? In those first games, his movement. I just thought he really has started to better understand, like you said, how to draw defenders away from other players, open up space for other players. And that's something you've seen in MLS this year, right? He's not just scoring goals; he's also providing assists. He's really being that guy up top for FC Dallas in terms of anything they do offensively. It kind of runs through him. He has some effect on it. So yeah, I think that was something I really enjoyed. Obviously the goals are great too. And again, I think he's come in at somewhat of a deficit, right? A lot of these other players have played with other players, on this team at different levels, different youth levels.
Yeah,
Haji
you're
Wright's
right.
a great example. Obviously a
What was
little
it?
bit further
Haji,
back.
Weston, Tyler, Pulisic,
Luca De La Torre, he's also played with. Yeah. So they have some they have some continuity, right, already established. And even some other players like Ricardo Pepe has played with, Gio Reyna and, well, maybe not Serginho Dest, but some of those other players at that level, right, where they went through a U17 World Cup together. They went through a U20 World Cup together. So they have a lot of experience playing and being in camp with each other. Right. Jesus Ferreira didn't really have that, right? He was, Colombian American, right? Finally was naturalized, I think in 2019. So he really was kind of behind the 8 ball when it comes to his international career. So I think these last few camps, right, within the past year, you've really seen him get those, get his feet underneath him, get comfortable in this international environment. And now you're kind of seeing, all that hard work, come to the forefront here with him finding success with our first team. I really think that's what's really impressed me. In addition to his movement, is just his confidence and his continuity with the team right now. I feel like that's something he was always kind of lacking.
Also a big vibes guy too, Austin.
Yeah.
No, but really interesting points you brought up too. That I want to touch on is, it's so funny because obviously didn't have the traditional youth setup, right? That some of these other guys, like you said, coming in kind of late. You got to give kind of kudos almost to the U.S. soccer, right, and Berhalter, and just bring him in here, and kind of like Miles Robinson, right? Some of these guys just flew in to this group, and think they've been some of our key players and instrumental players here with this this team, as we transition into finally getting back to the World Cup. So I just compare those journeys are pretty interesting to me. Both kind of solid players in the MLS, but really from the national team level, they're stepping up. They're not looking any different, right? Than we've seen some players, MLS, Europe, come to the national team and just doesn't look right. Like you said, he's really gelled. He understands his role. Seems very intelligent, right, in terms of those runs, how Berhalter wants to set up, and then obviously having the qualities. So I think again, those goals will come. This as well. So yeah, I think we've said enough about Jesus Ferreira, but awesome. One more in the back. I just wanted to mention too. Goalkeepers. Obviously, you all know, right? If you tune into our show, I'm a big Ethan Horvath fan. It's just so hard to cling on when he's not playing at his clubs. But I have to say, Sean Johnson's stock, even though it was
he was impressive against Uruguay. Yeah,
that was a huge game, Austin. I mean, our defense looked completely exposed. Long was kind of having some communication there. Scally, right, kind of thrown into things. It's tough. I mean, Uruguay has some dangerous attackers, and even in the second half, right, what they threw at them. I mean, it was amazing to see some of those saves. And such a big game where he could have had the mentality like, hey, he was kind of just called in, right? The Stefan situation, he wasn't really even thought of, and really took advantage of that just for that one limited, one small opportunity. So I think Sean Johnson's a player you can't rule out, Austin. Maybe he's not the best playing on the back, but shot stopping, you can make a great case. He could be a number 3.
Yeah, and I've never been Sean Johnson's biggest fan. I always just felt like, like some of our other keepers even too. There's always that one mistake he makes in a critical moment. But I mean, he came up big against Uruguay, and he's played well in MLS the past year and a half. So yeah, I think he's, because of that game, it's really, now a 4 goalkeeper race for 3 spots. And you could even throw Gaga Slonina in there, which we'll talk about a little bit later, as like a 5th dark horse for a World Cup spot at goalkeeper. So yeah, I thought his stock definitely went up and legitimized his chances of making the World Cup roster. What do you guys think? I'm seeing some people put down some comments here. I see Jaron has Tim Weah for player of the tournament at the World Cup. All right.
Yeah, I like that
confidence.
Also, I mean, Timo in general, this whole cycle, right? He's been unbelievable, and it's so good to see him healthy, Austin. Like, obviously, it almost kind of worked, right? Where he ended the season right, a great finish with Lille, but he wasn't really the main starter, to be honest, throughout the year. Obviously, coming back from injury, a lot of competition on that team, but he was still getting some good impact minutes. Had some starts here and there too, but I think the important thing for him was just to get through this season healthy, right? And look how well he's done with the national team. And the schedules are so clustered from COVID and the World Cup being a different date. Yeah. You see a lot of players getting injured right now, just kind of honestly exhausted of everything. There's literally no break. So it's been amazing to see him finally fully fit and see what he can do. It's really impressive.
Yeah, and I think with Tim Weah, this is kind of how I see it. I think he's just got really great talent, just like physical talent, right? He's really fast. He's really good at making runs, right? He's really intelligent in how he attacks in the final third. And I think sometimes it doesn't show at the club level because he's, playing with some really good players and, he's battling for minutes. But he's always someone that no matter what's happening at the club level, I think he can always just come into a camp and kind of rely upon some of those physical skills to kind of kickstart his game. I don't know. That's just kind of how I've always interpreted him. And it's good to see him, like you said, get some continuity this year. He's right now, maybe if Gio's healthy, maybe he's thrown in at right wing, but I think Timo's played so well over the past 6 months or so with the U.S. men's national team that, he's got to be a starter come World Cup time.
And some interesting comments here. Star Wars there. Thanks for joining again. And turn as well. Way at the nine. Excuse me. We talked about that too. Yeah. It just. I don't know. I don't know if Berhalter would do that this late in the game or even Tinker there. There's been some rumblings for it, but also again, I think I said in the interview, Timo personally, right? Not his favorite spot, but hey. maybe he can make a huge impact. Give it a try. Get Reina right on the wing, Timo in that position, and just be able to put some of our best players in the field at once. But again, we have to just wait for Reina to get healthy. Things it looks like they're going well recovery wise. He's doing some golf in there, getting some good training back on the pitch. So yeah, it's good to see him kind of in good spirits, Austin. But yeah, I think Tim's been incredible, and it's just he's such an important player in terms of someone that just goes direct, goes at players, like you said, just takes those chances, gets some shots on target, and always puts his head down to go 1v1, and he doesn't do those sideways passes as much or go backwards all the time. It looks a little bit more purposeful. And again, not to criticize Ariel and company, but you even saw it against Grenada, right? We were kind of lacking that Timo edge.
Yeah, and Jaron here even says, with Reina healthy at right wing, that's key. Way needs to be on the pitch. Yeah, I think Gio can help us more in midfield maybe when he's back. I really would be curious to see kind of him and maybe Musa's role with Weston and
so creating through the middle.
I know it's tough, right? And you got Brendan Aronson, who's phenomenal, right? Like when he was on the field against Morocco, I thought he was one of our best players, if not our best player.
Austin, I would never think that. Granted, his leads, right, and the season they had wasn't the best, but I never thought we'd be saying from a program that a $30 million man in the Premier League would be on the bench for a national team.
I know, it's wild.
Yeah,
but here we are.
Here we are. Any other players from you all that you think for this window stock went up? Any of those fringe players? I know you could maybe make the case. Maybe not a tremendous up, but I thought Luka's was a gradual rise, maybe through the window and this. I mean, the minutes that he got, Austin, you could tell he's going to be a really critical sub player for us. The way he unlocks passes, you see his dribbling and drive. I didn't realize how quick he was and the speed and agility he had. Again, a player that maybe needs to work a little bit on that final third decision making, but the way he's able to just unlock those passing lanes and just those pinpoint passes and how he can kind of run into spaces and connect the midfield. I was really impressed with Luka. It's kind of a slow, gradual stock going up.
Yeah, and he's another one that, over the past 6 to 8 months, he's really just gotten so much closer with the players that are, in this first team, right? And it seems like they trust him when he's on the field. He knows who to look for now, like going forward. I thought in the Morocco game when he was in, maybe it was the Uruguay game actually as well. He just looked so comfortable getting forward, right? Like he knew where to look, who to pass to. And again, that just shows that, he's confident and connected with those players out there. Jaron even says it too, LT balling right now has a role for sure. And it'll be curious to see what happens this summer too, right? I feel like he's another player that may not have that rep that when we think of players on this team, right? He's not in the same category as some of these other players in terms of club team. But this summer, things could change, right? Like I wouldn't be shocked if he went to, a top team in the Eredivisie as a role player to start and make his way into that, first group, that first 18 by the end of the season. I think he has that quality. It's just not really on display when you're at Heracles, a team that, doesn't keep the ball as much as, some of those top teams and doesn't score as much.
You got to give a shout out to Daniel Smith, who's been really just really giving us all the Luka content, just that league in general and with Heracles. So I think we saw, from some of the highlights and just this Discord discussion, he could definitely step up to the plate there at that level. And I think we both agreed from one of our last episodes, tuned into a lot of these weekly reports as well, that Luka, if we did see a potential move, and I think the potential transfer episode we put out, we were looking at Feyenoord, Utrecht even, or some of those other top 5 or 6 teams in the Netherlands. He could certainly, be that starter, kind of that Weah role type of player, right? Maybe 30% starting, 67% getting in the last 20, 30 minutes of games and going up from there. He definitely has that ability. And again, maybe not the most physically, strong or gifted player there, But Austin, you could even see when he's getting pushed or players are coming into his back, he has such great awareness too. Where to turn, when to get rid of the ball. He rarely loses it in terms of just giving up complete counters. He's very clean in that way and just very knowledgeable in terms of how he reads the field, sees the field essentially. So, yeah, I think with that, those are some of the players we want to cover here that the stock went up, and I know Star Wars here put in Aaron Long
Aaron Long.
went up, so that's interesting. You could argue that. I would love to hear a little bit more. You say definitely starting in Qatar as well. I think depends on Richards as well if he gets healthy. I think Long, you can make the case, right? I don't think it went down, but there were definitely some things in terms of maybe communicating, right? The Scally and Long side of things didn't look that great against Uruguay. But he also seems to be recovered from his injury fairly well and seems like he could do an okay job, with Zimmerman. So it really depends who's kind of, the outside backs with him. I don't think he covered himself in glory from this window. Also, I want to get your take, but yeah, I think he was all right.
Yeah, I thought he was all right, and I think we kind of know what he is when he's fully healthy, right? I think he's someone who's a pretty mobile center back. I think he can handle some of the opponents we can go up against, or at least competently handle some of these opponents we go up against at the World Cup. But I don't know. I still think, I'm looking at Brian's comment here. He says that he's hoping CCV and Chris Richards are the center back pair at the World Cup. We know Brooks won't be there. I still am a firm believer in Chris Richards. I'd love to see.
I thought you were going to say
Richards.
Brooks.
Yeah. Well, I'm just thinking about what we saw over the course of World Cup qualifying. I think Walker Zimmerman, it's weird to say, but I really think he's kind of our first center back on the depth chart right now. I just think he's really proven it. He's been active in the air on set pieces, right? He's also been pretty solid in 1v1, defensive battles at the back. And I really just think he's kind of our first center back. And then I'd love to see Chris Richards in there just because I think he would complement someone like Walker Zimmerman so well. So I think Aaron Long's a perfectly suitable center back. I think he's probably going to be on the World Cup roster. Is he going to be the starter? I hope we see. In my opinion, no. But hey, that's just me.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And before we kind of pivot here to stock went down, Austin, just some comments here. Obviously you said Brian and Jaron as well. So Scally gets some action and bright future there. Probably not ready for the World Cup, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I think that's one player to kind of transition here, right? Stock went down, but
I hate to say it, right,
I hate
Pat?
to say it, but I don't think it's like a rock bottom down, like, oh, this is it, this is the end, right? That's not the case at all. And even it was a long shot to begin with. Very limited time here. A lot of competition there, and Scally's still so young. He's barely had that many games, right, in the Bundesliga still. But just getting the experience, I think throwing him in positions like this will only make him stronger in the future. It did look like he was a little bit overwhelmed and tactically didn't really, I guess, overcommitted to a lot of challenges. It seemed a little bit out of depth there, right? If I'm being honest. But again, I think it's all great learning experience, and that's somebody kind of in the same cut as Gio, right? They're pretty close there. That Scally's going to grind. He's mentally strong. He's going to come back better, from this, and a player I think we can look to for 2026.
Yeah, and I think with the injuries right now too, with Serginho Dest, I really think that this was a great window to see more out of him, right? Some bigger opponents to start off the window, and that's what we wanted to see, right? We just wanted to see him get a chance on the field. He didn't really show out to the level we were hoping, so yeah, I think. We'll see what happens for the World Cup. I think, again, with injuries, that could be a way that he's called upon. But if everyone's healthy, then, yeah, I just think we have some more – I don't know. We think we have a little bit more experience, right, with some other options like DeAndre Yedlin, Reggie Cannon. Even George Bello has shown pretty well at left back. So I don't know. I think that backup left back position is his best chance of getting on this roster. So – we'll kind of see what happens at that position. We also have Jonathan Gomez, who could maybe be a shock call up too for the World Cup. So yeah, I think his stock went down, but yeah, he's so young. He's definitely going to be a big part of this team going forward in some capacity. So
Yeah,
that was good
absolutely.
to see. Do you guys have any other players who you think stock went down on?
Yeah, I
Do you
want to
have any?
hear. Yeah, anyone that you think kind of played themselves out and a little bit concerned. I think you could make a few cases here, and hear me out. Also, I want to
Okay.
get your thoughts too on this take, but I don't think it's too hot. I think again, I'm going. Am I a traitor for this? But I want to see. Maybe I'm jinxing, and hopefully he really proves me wrong. But you could almost argue the lack of time Horvath's gotten. I don't think it's helped his case at all. I think
Yeah.
people are maybe not necessarily went down, but a lot of people are jumping ahead of them. And there's only going to be 3 spots, right? So Johnson obviously got this time. Horvath, it's great to see him get this game against El Salvador. Sounds like, and yeah, obviously you have Turner, who I think's the number 1, right? Steffen's in a weird situation, right? And I hope everything's okay. I know he had to pull out for some other reasons, but he hasn't been in the best form for club. So it's just a little concerning from my ends. I've loved what I've seen from Ethan Horvath when he does play for Nottingham. When he's played for the USMNT, he's come up with great moments. But the consistency, something's not there. That may be training or something that we're seeing on the back end. For club, he's had this issue for club too. So I don't think – I think you could argue, right, the stock did kind of go down a little bit at the fact that he wasn't really given as many chances here.
Yeah, I think that's a really good one. Again, especially with Gaga Slonina kind of being that like up and coming goalkeeper.
Yeah.
You always see teams kind of bring a younger goalkeeper in that 3rd spot. So I don't know, as much as Sean Johnson showed out, Zach Steffen needs to stay healthy. We're not sure what club team he's going to go to this year. It sounds like right now he might even stay at Man City, which again, I think if he really wants to compete this year, that's kind of a mistake.
Yeah.
And Matt Turner is going to be in a new environment as well. So yeah, I think I think Ethan Horvath could be one where, by product of not playing. I mean, he's going to play tonight, so we'll see what happens. Probably not going to touch the ball too much, but I think that's a good one. Just looking down the list of some of these players we talked about coming into camp and stock going down. Jordan Morris is another one.
Austin, I was just thinking that. I'm like, I hope he says Morris. I hate it, but it's just, he hasn't looked the same since his injury, man.
Yeah, and it's weird too, right? Because I don't know. I always thought he was going to have a role in this team just based on kind of his demeanor, right? He always brings a lot of like, I don't know, not cockiness, but a lot of confidence, I guess, to the field. That's the best way to put it. And I thought that would give him kind of a role, especially with some of these younger attackers, right? Like someone who can, they can look up to and kind of show them the way a little bit. But he's really been outside of like, the little bubble, right? That's been created, with our attacking pieces for our team right now. So yeah, I think he's another one that hasn't gotten much playing time over the past year. This was a big camp to kind of get him some of those minutes and get him into camp with some of these other really talented players and see what he can do. And since he's not playing, that only leads me to suggest he hasn't had a great showing in camp. So I would be scared if I was him, especially with Gio Reyna coming back healthy. Some of these other younger players we have kind of on the rise. I'm thinking even, maybe it's a long shot. I'm a big Cade Cowell fan, so maybe if Cade Cowell shows out, second half of the season here, he's kind of a dark horse. Yeah, or even Georgi Mihalovic, depending on what his availability is.
Yeah.
But
I was really excited.
Yeah,
I was hoping to see George. I think Mihalovic would have been great to see in this camp and window.
Yeah, but, for sure.
Yeah, Austin. You even saw against Grenada, and then he just didn't look like the same Jordan Morris. Timid and kind of again, he's such a physically empowering player, right? And his speed, it just the final touches, things were just not coming together, and it hasn't really from the national team.
Yeah,
and it's just kind of unfortunate because I think Sarver's there. The injuries, he's probably just not the same in terms of that being clinical, that top speed. Because remember back from Stanford days, it was Brennan, thinking back to that time too, and even around this time when we started our show, it's just been unfortunate because he does have a lot of talent, but maybe it's also some a mental hurdle, right? To hurl yourself in, like some of our other players are, and going really hard into 50-50 challenges, or attacking the keeper, right? He seems to be a little bit more passive now from that end.
Yeah, I think that could definitely be some of it. Do we want to pivot now? The starting lineup came out, so maybe we should pivot to that and kind of take a look there.
Yeah, that's a good point. And yeah, good catch. I always forget to catch that, so I'm looking looking now to see if I can pull that up. So
yeah, who are you guys excited to see?
Yeah, we want to know who you're excited to see as well for this starting lineup.
There is a few names on this list that we heard some whispers that some of these players were going to play tonight. The one I'm really excited about, and I think Pat, if you can bring it up, you can kind of take us through it. The one player I'm super excited to see again is Haji Wright. Again, Haji got his goal, right, and looked good in some of those limited minutes against Morocco. I'm just excited to see him get the same type of opportunity that Jesus Ferreira got last game, right? And starting a game for us up top. Again, if he has a good game tonight and kind of can score a few goals and look really, really competent up front and combine well with players, then I think that would be him again trying to solidify his chance for the World Cup, and again be one of those players on our list that we just talked about in terms of stock going up.
And Aaron's also excited.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, I'm excited too. It'll be interesting because we'll have a lot of the ball. They'll be playing low block. Obviously, the conditions of the field will be interesting, but great opportunity for Haji to pick up some momentum here and end camp with a bang. So, yeah, I think that's an interesting one. And just kind of reading it back, right? Austin going through the lineup, you have Ethan Horvath.
My
boy. I don't know how many chances he's going to have to do much in this game. We'll see. And then just going from the back, you have Anthony Robinson, right? Just the lock player. I mean, he's been immense. I mean, unbelievable. We can go on and on about him. Has that position locked down. Aaron Long starting the back with CCV. So, kind of interesting. Good to see our boy CCV again making that Celtic deal official.
Yeah, I was going to say Star Wars. There you go. Aaron Long, too.
Yeah, that's right. Star Wars guys. So, interesting to see how those two are. And then maybe we'll see Zimmer in the second half. Maybe we won't. Who knows? And then you have on the other side Reggie Cannon. Seems to be consistent there. So it'll be interesting to see Cannon Yedlin, right? I feel like they're kind of battling it out for that spot too.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I thought Yedlin was kind of locked as one of that. Just we know what we're getting from him. He doesn't really offer that much going forward.
He also has World Cup experience.
He has World Cup experience.
Not many players in our team anymore have any of that.
He just scraps by and gets the jobs done against even high-level teams. He's been able to prove that. Maybe he isn't pretty, but he can kind of keep things locked down, which is interesting. So I want to get everyone else's take on and Austin raised his eyebrow at me and then that comment. So I want to hear what you all think.
You saw that.
So going to the midfield, Austin, you have Tyler Adams there, Yunus Musa, and then it looks like, and correct me if I'm wrong, Brennan Aronson.
Yeah.
So that is interesting.
Really excited to see that again.
Yeah, Aronson seems to really have found a home in more of that 10 type of role. So that's the attacking mid. So I'm excited to see again how he can, break down this low block and how he can kind of unlock the game here. And then obviously, Austin, you have Pulisic, right? Our guy captaining the side. And then you have Haji starting up top, and then Timo. So that's an interesting dynamic up top with those three. So yeah, Austin, I'll stop there, pause, see what all the fans and what your thoughts are on that lineup here.
Yeah, I think it's great, right? The two that really stand out to me in terms of players that have a lot to prove tonight is Haji Wright and Cameron Carter-Vickers. And again, Cameron Carter-Vickers probably not going to get too much action, but there's going to be a few moments, right, where El Salvador are going to try and counter, and it's up to him to show that he can snuff out, any level of attack that they throw his way tonight. So, those were two names I was really excited to see. And I just love Brennan Aronson in midfield. I really thought that in that Morocco game, it really gave Greg Berhalter another, option to go with, right? We talked earlier about, having a player sit out to the level of Brendan Aronson or Gio Reyna or Yunus Musa even, right? And other players played a lot recently in midfield. So, yeah, I think this is going to be interesting too, because you said it too. This is going to be a team that sits back and defends. So can he show that he can kind of unlock these tight defenses? If we go up against an Iran who kind of maybe sit back a little bit in their game against us, depending on what they need in terms of points and how certain teams play at the World Cup, right? No matter what team we face, there's going to be a lot of different challenges that are thrown our way. Can Brendan Aronson do the job in midfield? So yeah, I like this roster and this lineup for tonight. I think it's got a lot of flair and excitement. And also, again, a lot of players tonight have things to prove. So yeah, I'm excited. I think it's a good lineup.
I am too. I'm excited as well for, like you said, CCV and Long too. I want to see our center back pairing succeed. I want to see somebody step up. It's tough in Robinson's place there, and I'm excited for that, as well as, just like you said, it's going to be a battle unlocking this defense and how can we break through. This is Haji's time here, how he connects with Pulisic and Weah, making some of those runs, right? How does he kind of fit into that, role? And then obviously the midfield. I want to see Austin Yunus Musa improve, obviously, with his final third, being more clinical, his decision-making, his final product, because I've been so impressed with how he's able to, from a deep-lying midfield position, drive with the ball. Nobody can take the ball off of him. He shoots tremendously. His dribbles. I've never seen a teenager do that. It's pretty unreal, elevate his game. And again, I'm not saying he has to be this world-class finisher, right? Maybe that's not his position in the long run. We'll have to see. But I do want to see a little bit better in the final third, because he's had such tremendous runs where if he can find the right pass, make the right decision there, he'll unlock many more chances and a recipe for success for us. If he can add that element to his game, I think he could be pretty borderline under world class, Austin. I think he's that special. What is he, still 18, 19?
Yeah. I mean, he definitely has the talent, and yeah, I'm not sure we'll see that this game. I mean, I hope we see him get more involved in the attacking third, but I think that's a great goal for him to have, even leading up to the World Cup too, right? With his club team, being played hopefully more in that central mid position for Valencia next year. How can he become more dangerous in the final third and really kind of make those passes right into the box or again, just use his skill in driving upfield and taking players on to kind of get open shots in and around the box.
Austin, quick take here. Star Wars brought up better midfield. He said Weston Musa, Aronson Reyna, and then obviously here I'm jumping around comments. Be sitting on the bench during World Cup because our midfield's the MMA. It has been MMA, right? So I'm curious to get your thoughts. And then obviously Reyna, if he's healthy, add a wrinkle in there. It's great to have this problem, but I don't know. It's how do you leave some of these players off? And then, Will Weston had he's come back at a credible timeline from his injury, but still very cautious, slow and steady. It was a pretty bad, injury he had. So we haven't seen him come full speed yet, and I'm sure we will.
So again, I want to see more of that. What was it? Tyler Adams, Weston McKennie, and Brandon Aronson. That's the midfield I want to see more of. So again, I'm not sure.
McKennie and Aronson.
Yeah, I want to see more of that. That means Musa on the bench. That means maybe Reyna on the bench, depending on what we do at right wing. I just think Brandon Aronson brings a different level of work rate to the team, and also just he's like a blend of I think what Yunus Musa does so well, and I don't know, no one else in our team really has the same level of, I don't know how to explain it. I just think Brandon Aronson is a great player to have in midfield in terms of work rate, in terms of even getting into the final third and creating opportunities for other people. So yeah, I would love to see that midfield more. I know we haven't seen too much of it, so maybe it doesn't work out the way I think it's going to work out. But
and Austin, our guy Samuel.
Sam, welcome to the chat.
Luca at the 6 again. So yeah, that's interesting too. I think again he would be great as that super sub coming in, maybe even earlier in the second part of the game. But I think he's cemented himself, for Qatar. I would be shocked if he wasn't part of this team, Austin. But I do want to jump back to your points on MMA and just obviously seeing Aronson, in more of that 10 role he's been playing in, and I kind of like that take. Only reason being the MMA, which we've seen, is very much defensive minded, and I don't know if they have the. I mean, you could say McKinney, but Musa, right? He needs to improve in that end. Adams obviously is not going to do that, right? He needs to sit back. Does it have the attacking prowess that we need in a World Cup? So I'd be curious again.
Yeah.
We've seen that combo work well, but when you add in some of these other players like an Aronson, who's done very, very well in that role, when you add even potentially a healthy Reina and some of the other areas that we could kind of adjust in terms of formations too. It doesn't have to be the exact formation, right? But
yeah, I
think we just need a little bit more, attack, right? Going forward, and I'm not sure those three would offer that.
Yeah, no, I think that's a fair criticism, and yeah, it's something we'll have to see kind of play out, the next few months, and we're only going to get, maybe 2 more opportunities to see it before the World Cup. So yeah, seems like we have some interesting comments here too. So Sam, just going along with that Luca comment, seeing a ball handling 6 allows an outlet for Long and Zimmerman. Yeah, I mean, that could help us in terms of playing the way Greg wants to play, right? And building out of the back. I think, it'd be an interesting little wrinkle. Again, I think Tyler Adams just brings so much at the 6 on the defensive side of things over ball handling. But yeah, if we're looking for a different, a different slant or, a different look at that, midfield position where Tyler Adams is injured, then yeah, I think it's another really interesting opportunity.
And Austin, I know we're getting some great comments here too.
Yeah.
I do want to pivot though, because you brought up Adams and I totally forgot, where he might be, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of potential moves and we wanted to kind of change it up a little bit, right? Because obviously we have this El Salvador game. It's the last game of this window here before Qatar, but as quick as this window ends, we're already rounding up into preseason and just like that, right? In months away from Qatar. So a lot of potential transfers and rumors on the horizon, right? So there's plenty to get to, but Austin, I do want to throw the first one here that we had on our list that we talked about, guys.
It looks crazy just seeing it on the screen.
Yeah. What were your thoughts here, guys? You're seeing PFOC to Dortmund.
Yeah.
Is that crazy, that far-fetched? Austin, take it away, man.
So this was reported by, I believe, goal.com through Rohr Nachrichten, which is kind of like the local BVB paper there. So they linked, Jordan PFOC as a player that Dortmund's looking at. So again, not sure how likely it is, but if anything, right, it would probably be in a reserve role, right? Because they're having Karim Adeyemi come in. It sounds like they're also looking at maybe one other striker. So I don't know. When you talk about, a team to be associated with and a team we want our players at, I think it's a great opportunity, right? Getting minutes in a team that's playing in Champions League and a team that has so much attacking talent like it has could only, boost a player's confidence. Now, if you're talking about only playing a certain amount of minutes a game or, a season and not getting too many opportunities to play, then that's where I think maybe this move doesn't make the most sense. But I don't know. I thought there could be, benefits of going to Dortmund if they're really serious about, getting PFOC. What do you think, Pat?
Yeah, I think he's going to come in as a backup and he's going to have to prove himself. Yeah. That's my guess. But I mean, if Dortmund, some of these comments are pretty funny. I also don't hate it. I mean, I was kind of surprised when it was first linked. I didn't know if that was kind of that next step, but
I mean, he's had a really good season.
Yeah,
he's had a great season.
He was kind of outgrowing. I mean, the league, has that ceiling, and I'm be curious to see maybe this will up his game and take him to the next level. to improve in certain things because for all the criticism, right? PFOC came in, he had that horrible miss. That's what everyone kind of remembers. You also have to remember too. Think of everybody else in the position. This 9 problem we're having. It's not just him. We've been having quite so many problems with other players too. And even before Ferreira put in 4 against Grenada. I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of intrigued by it. So defending PFOC a little bit because I think this would be a great chance for him to prove himself, get more exposure, playing the Bundesliga, even if it's cup games, right? Some of the Europa Champions League, etc., right? Getting some action there and being linked to a team with Dortmund is pretty impressive. Just like when you're thinking about back when McKennie from Schalke was linked to Juventus, and everyone thought that was crazy. Not making that comparison, but you have players, right, where people are like, why are they linked there? And they end up proving us wrong. So maybe PFOC's one of those players that can prove us wrong.
Yeah, and I do want to stand up for what we said during the season too, right? So we have talked about PFOC a lot this spring in some of our weekly reports.
Yeah.
And, we were kind of resigned to having him stay at Young Boys for another season, staying in a team or just staying in a position where he's comfortable. Again, if he can kind of replicate some of that scoring form going into the World Cup, be great to have a striker on our team on that roster that is in such great form. But if you're looking at what other players are going to do leading up to the World Cup, right? Ricardo Pepe is playing in the Bundesliga and is hoping to kind of rebound from a poor spring. Jesus Ferreira is killing it right now, scoring a lot of goals in MLS. I think there's a lot of pressure for him too to kind of get into a position that kind of boosts his level, boosts his status, I guess, in the eyes of Greg Berhalter before the World Cup. Because right now, his call-ups are very inconsistent. And I think part of that's because Greg Berhalter either doesn't rate him or doesn't exactly rate the production he's seeing at the club level. So I don't know. I think there's a lot of it's a very nuanced decision, right? Or a nuanced transfer rumor. If it's I think if it happens, there's some good things about it, but you also should be a little wary of his role in the team too.
Right. And Austin, just quickly on that, Samuel mentioned Haji better fit than I think
he meant PFOC.
Yeah. So it's not a good idea there. I don't see him playing silent matches. So yeah, I mean, you could certainly make the argument there too. And
I was going to say it's a good criticism too. PFOC doesn't necessarily fit what Dortmund usually do, right? They like strikers who are very mobile, strikers who can kind of get out on the run. And that's not PFOC, right? PFOC's a true poacher. He's someone who kind of stays up top, doesn't really do much of the defensive work. So yeah, it's a good comment, Sam.
Yeah. And Austin, another one here.
Yeah,
another rumor here, guys. If you didn't see, check out Austin's Instagram post there on the account. Some great updates there. But it mentioned Kobe going to Ligue 1. So take it away, Austin. I was kind of surprised. This is a pretty big move, especially someone coming from the USL.
Yeah. So this move actually has been in the works for honestly like 6 months to a year. So Kobe is a really interesting prospect at center back. Really great size for someone who I believe just turned 18 recently. He's been with the U17 team for some tournaments and games. He's also been with the U20s. Was most recently with the U19s last week. And this is the highest transfer from USL for $700,000. To a team in Europe. So it's really impressive. Again, it's helping grow that league, right, as kind of the farm system league for MLS. And I think it's just a really I don't know what the right word is. Really confident move from him, right? Going towards a top 5 league, going to a team in a top 5 league. The playing time is most likely not going to be there right from the start, right? He's probably going to start off with the youth team there. But again, he's going to get that foot in the door that he's looking for. And again, I think he's a really interesting prospect. Again, the size is his biggest asset right now. I thought he was a little unpolished, and then saw some playing time of him over this past year, and he really looks a lot further along in his development than I originally thought he was. So Yeah, I'm excited, Pat. I think again, just getting more opportunities playing in high level leagues over in Europe is a great thing, and I think this is a great move for Kobe.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And just think who else is there, right? EPB, playing in Ligue 1, and again, if Kobe can rise up to the ranks here and really make an impact, he could be right in the debate for the 2026. For being confident there.
Yeah.
He's getting consistent game time in Ligue 1. That's no small feat. So great to see him. Right? Don't want to get too far ahead, but to see him really refine his craft and game and go from that USL jump, that's tremendous. That is, not only just bypassing my MLS, but that is, I think we've seen a few from Sacramento and some other clubs as well, making some interesting pushes for other players in Europe. So, yeah, I'll be interested to see how he progresses and performs.
Yeah, and again, I think in order to become the soccer nation we want to be, we have to have a great pathway, right, for players. And it doesn't have to be a singular pathway through MLS. It needs to just be, teams investing in players and youth players, and providing them with opportunities to go abroad and again, just play on teams that'll better their, output, right, their long-term futures. And this is exactly that move. So
yeah, some comments here, right? So I think Star Wars said exciting for Kobe. And then Sam also mentioned here potential John Tompkins for Norwich or Kobe. I would honestly argue at this point, just because I
think age, right?
Yeah, I think Tompkins really he just kind of hasn't made that jump, kind of plateaued in my opinion. So I would argue I think the upside is with Kobe here.
Yeah, and I think again that's purely based on age. I think Tompkinson, he should have. I don't know. He got so close, right? Like we were covering him. He was doing really well for the U23s there with Norwich, and then I think he might have made the bench one or two times for some games they had this year. But yeah, never really made an impact or got really playing time. So I think just based on that, it would have to be Kobe. But I think Jonathan's another player that I think was originally from FC Dallas, if I'm not mistaken, way back when. It'd be great to see him. Yeah, it'd be great to see him kind of move back stateside and see if he can kind of break into an MLS or even, a USL team and kind of fight for minutes there.
Yeah,
we'll see.
More. Another one.
Good question, Sam. Yeah.
Any questions there? But
I'm gonna let you take this one, Pat.
I'll take this. Luca de la Torre. Yeah. So again, with Heracles going down, unfortunately. It was brought to all of our attention, if you were looking in kind of the news and Luca's interviews there, that I guess within the deal he had with Heracles contract, that if they were going down, he would find that move. So it looks like that was already in the works regardless. And I think that's great because he has really proven himself. He was really appreciative, right, of the time he had at Heracles to get the game time, minutes, really experience in the Eredivisie. Granted, it's not one of the big four leagues or so, but it's right on par. It's very close in terms of developing players and talent. And I'm surprised I haven't heard, and Austin and guys here in the chat, if you've heard specific clubs linked to him, let me know because I haven't heard anything. It's been very kind of hushed under the radar.
It's been vague, right?
Very vague. So
teams from Germany, different leagues are interested.
Yeah, different leagues like in the Netherlands, obviously. And our opinion, right? We talked about this earlier on this stream, but I think staying in the Eredivisie it's a great league for him. Suits his skill set, his style. I think Feyenoord we brought up too would be a huge move. A team that made it to the Europa League final and has produced some great talent in terms of the coach, the playing style that fits Luca. Very, very much attacking. Jaron said to call Fabrizio. Yeah. Here we go.
Give us his number. Come on, man.
Give us his number, yeah. I just think like a Feyenoord or Utrecht or some of those other top 4 or 5 teams in the Netherlands, he could make that jump and still make an impact. So he might have to prove himself in terms of getting consistent starts like he did with Heracles, but I don't think that's, anywhere out of his wheelhouse. In terms of where he can progress, and that would even put him in further standings for our team, right? For the World Cup. So again, I still don't think that's in jeopardy here. I think Luca's done enough, Austin, but what are your thoughts on this transfer situation? I think personally staying in the Eredivisie would be the better option.
Yeah, I think Eredivisie makes a lot of sense. I think he could play in the Bundesliga or even like a low level La Liga team. I just think in terms of his development, he spent so much time at these smaller clubs and smaller teams, right? And he's proven that he can hold on to possession and really be I guess creative with possession, right? He's really good at dribbling. He has a high work rate, right? He's constantly moving around the pitch. I would just love to see him in an environment where he's with a team that's scoring goals and progressing the play up the field and creating chances. And I don't think he's going to reach that if he goes to say like an Augsburg in Germany, right? Or a Mallorca in Spain, right? It's going to be a lot of the same types of situations he was in with Heracles this past year. And that's where, again, you talked about Feyenoord. I think, a team like that in the Eredivisie would be a really great, would be a really positive step in his career. Because, I think it could get him more recognition. It could get him more opportunities to, again, create, some of those stats, right? And be someone, sorry, I lost my train of thought, but just be in an environment where there's more, chance to score, right? Just more possession, more opportunities for him to showcase his talent. That's kind of my big thing with Luka.
I completely agree, Austin. And I think last players we shift to the big one, right? From the keeper situation. We need somebody at Madrid, right? And why not Gaga?
Or Chelsea.
Right? I think also Wolves might have been linked at a time. I think obviously with these other clubs linked, they're probably not going to be the favorite. But I think, Austin, I want to hear your thoughts too. But Gaga started off the season tremendously, right? Made a huge splash in terms of the clean sheets, how the Fire were playing. And honestly, it's been in terms of the his form recently. Chicago, I think in general, has been struggling. They've given up a lot of goals. There's a lot of leaks in the back, and they have not been playing very well. So you can't place the entire blame on Gaga. Obviously, he's had some errors there, and it's come down to, I think, all these decisions from, the Poland, right, potential, switch there, or the U.S. Where's he going to go? And then these rumors and big clubs swirling around. There's a lot going on, for this kid. And I think he just needs a lot of these distractions aside, to focus on his craft, get back to what he was doing, getting those clean sheets, making those great judgments in terms of, when to come out, his shot stopping, right, his decision making. I think he's still an immense talent, and it's just a rough period in terms of Chicago and what he's going through as well. But to have these links, I think is incredible. Madrid, Chelsea, these are top clubs. They don't just call anybody. And even if it's going here, right, being in the Madrid culture, right, immersing yourself there, going out on loan in certain areas or working through their youth systems and setups, I think could be very beneficial. So do I want him to go right to Madrid to kind of sit on the bench or just kind of go down to second, third tier Spanish clubs? I'm not saying that. Maybe a loan back to the Fire. I think that would be the best choice as he progresses. But I want to get your take, Austin, the fans. Do you like going to Madrid? Do you like Chelsea? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm really curious to hear what other people have to say about this, because I'm really torn, Pat. I still don't know if there's a tried and true method of how to kind of grow goalkeepers or give them that experience or opportunity they need to grow as players. So, you talk about going to Madrid, getting loaned back to the Fire. Yeah, that could be a really positive, move, at least in the short term. I struggle. You've seen so many players go to Chelsea, Man City, even, and not even get a look, right? They're brought in as prospects. Everyone's told, hey, they're going to get their chance. And then, we're 3 years later and it's like, oh, well, they're just an afterthought. Yeah. Part of the loan army. Exactly. I mean, just ask Matt Miazga about that. Right. And some of our, some of our other players in Europe right now. So that's where I'm struggling with that. Again, with Real Madrid, right? We haven't really had a player play for Real Madrid yet. So it would be a really exciting, yeah, Mixed Discord is a great example of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we haven't had a player play for Real Madrid. And I think there is some level of prestige, right? When a player signs for Madrid. And again, it's all about creating pathways. And maybe Gaglas Slonina will go to Madrid and someday be a starter for them and be their number one goalkeeper. But at the very least, it could just be another move that gives him an opportunity, right? It'll give him a platform to show himself. He'll probably have to go on loan somewhere in Spain and show that he can play there. And, that's exciting for him. But I think at the very least, it could be a great move for the future, right? And showing younger generations, younger kids, and showing the world that an American can go to a team like Real Madrid for, a good size transfer fee, right? And kind of be a highly regarded prospect for one of the best teams in the world. I think, it's tough to deny, right? It's almost like the Ricardo Pepe transfer.
Yeah.
Augsburg wasn't the best opportunity, but it set a precedent in MLS. In MLS for a transfer record and in terms of what money teams can get now. So
it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Yeah. I mean, when Madrid, I think his agent, he said it, right? If Madrid comes calling, you don't really say no. Like that is.
Yeah, it's tough. Yeah.
Imagine you're thinking, I can't even think of a great analogy, but whatever it is, in your life, that's just like the prize, right? That the golden treasure, something's right in front of you, just dangling in front of you, and you might never have a chance at that again.
Yeah.
Pretty hard to turn down, right? Especially from his perspective. So, yeah, I don't know. It's just interesting. I think he's a player that would take the leap of faith, a lot of confidence in himself. And again, keepers are so unique. It's such a different position to everywhere else where primes are completely different, where
right.
Who knows? Maybe it takes 6 to 8 more years for him to become, a great player for Madrid or a key player, right, in a top 4 or 5 league in Europe. I mean, that still puts him right in the mid-20s, which is when keepers really kind of start to blossom and thrive. So, yeah, I don't know. I love the links, and I'm leaning more towards Madrid. Maybe I just am biased.
So you're leaning Madrid over Chelsea at the very least.
Yeah, I think I'm leaning Madrid over Chelsea. From the Chelsea players, the experiences that we've had from the American perspective, and then even Kepa, right? I mean, that guy was just out. Like he was the herald guy starting, and then all of a sudden, I don't for him. So I don't know.
England's a different animal.
Yeah, something about Chelsea scares me a little bit in terms of instability, and I just think Madrid. Granted, it is a cutthroat place, it's a high-level place, and if you don't cut the bill, you're going to be out. Courtois, yeah, he can definitely be out Courtois for sure.
Great comment, Jared.
Yeah.
I also see another great comment from Sam. He says, I would think, this is on Luca De La Torre too. I would think keeping some continuity would be good. So Eredivisie, trying to adjust to a new club is tough. Adding a new country in the World Cup year, no thanks. Yeah, I fully agree with you, Sam. I think that would be a really, really tough move, right? You're talking about culture change, getting settled in an entirely new country 2 to 3 months before World Cup. I think it's a big challenge. Not to say he's not up for it, but I really think, if he can get a move to a top team in the Eredivisie, I think that needs to be his preferred, plan of action. So another great comment there.
Couldn't agree more. I love all these rumors. It's exciting, right?
It's fun, right? Yeah.
Fun to talk about this guys too. So if you have any intel, if you're connected, Darren is to Fabrizio there. If you have any insight, hit us up here, put in the comments. But I think just to pivot right back to the game with El Salvador.
20 minutes.
That's right. It's coming on soon, guys. So excited. I want to hear from the fans here predictions for tonight's game. Austin, your predictions. It's the last game here before, I think that September window right before Qatar. And who's going to step up here? Is Haji going to score? Are we going to come out guns a-blazing here, get some goals and tough field conditions here away at El Salvador? It was tough during World Cup qualifying. So I'm curious to see not only who steps up, but how aggressive we come out. Can we unlock this low block?
Yeah,
already.
I know. Look at this. I think I think we're going to come out firing tonight. I really like the lineup we put out. I think again they're going to, the players are going to internalize what you just said, that this is, the last game of the summer. They've had such a great, camaraderie. Their camaraderie has been so great this window. I think this is kind of like that last hurrah before things get really tough, right? You're going to talk about going away for vacation, but then, coming back to your club team, dialing it in for that final stretch before the World Cup. I think tonight is going to be kind of a showcase of a lot of that fun they've been having. I got to go as in terms of prediction. I'm going to go 3-0. I'm going to say Haji Wright with 2 goals, and I don't know, someone random for the third one, like maybe Yunus Musa gets his first goal tonight. I don't think it's going to be I think it's going to be a non-traditional goal scorer. That's what I'll go with.
Okay. I like that. I'm okay. I just don't think El Salvador, there's a lot of interesting behind the scenes going on in terms of the bonuses and the pay and Alex Roldan not being part of the group anymore, and even the pass in the World Cup. I mean, it's qualifying. It's an interesting time, and I think obviously not qualifying and just this Nations League kind of depletion here. Now, I think they'll be gearing up, right, for that chance at 2026 as US, Mexico, Canada, right, taking some spots. That's a huge opportunity for them in other countries. I just don't know if they really see that there's motivation, the importance. There's a lot of things going on behind the scenes, but they have the motivation. Obviously, that the fans are tremendous there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's going to be. I think I might be closer with you too. I might say 2-0, 3-0 US. I think we'll keep a clean sheet here. You're not going to get too many chances. The only reason why I'm leaning towards 2-0 is I'm a little concerned with the field conditions from what I saw on social media, and just the rain and in terms of the season here and disaster of the pitch, it looks like. But yeah, I think Haji scores, Austin. I think he pulls one out here. And then I also think Timo. I think he's going to be direct, aggressive, and he's going to put one in the back of the net too. So I feel pretty confident Tim's going to end this window on a high note.
Nice. Yeah. I think I agree with you. And it looks like you said, Jaron said 7-0 dub. We also have another comment by Sam here. He thinks that Sargent's going to make the final 26. But who is the backup left back? Well, yeah, that's what we talked about earlier with Joe Scally. Didn't have the best showing in this camp, right? Didn't really look great against Uruguay. But in terms of positions available or spots open, I should say, that backup left back position is wide open right now. So I think his goal should be being kind of filling that role, right, for us at the World Cup, and proving that over his club season coming up. Maybe if he gets called up in September, showing it again. You also have some players, like I said, Jonathan Gomez maybe is someone we get to commit for us and take a chance on him as well. George Bello has looked decent in limited minutes, and he'll be in the 2 Bundesliga next year. So it's a really good comment there. And then Sargent, right? I said as a troll, but do we really think Sargent's going to make the World Cup roster, Pat?
Unfortunately, I don't think so. I'm sorry. I like Sargent. I love him, but I just think there's not enough time for him to kind of make that such an impact. I think Berhalter's already kind of leaning, with Ferreira and company. I still just have this inkling, this feeling that Pepe could be ahead of him, but hey, maybe Sargent steps it up. He has some limited time in the championship, and that's something, if he comes out strong and makes a huge impact there, like Ream did with Fulham in the back. No, I think that there's maybe some consideration, but I just get this feeling that Sargent's pages turn for this Qatar cycle. I'm not ruling him out for the future. I still think he could be one that makes an impact. Maybe as that 2 or 3 option for 2026. But I just think, unfortunately, the window's closed for him for this World Cup.
Yeah, I kind of have to agree with you. I don't think we're going to see him again. Again, with injuries, that could be the only thing. If players move, right? If like PFOC moves and gets no playing time, if Ricardo Pepe's not playing well, and Josh Sargent does start the season hot, like you said, I think that would kind of be that like best case scenario for him. But a lot's got to go. A lot's got to happen for that scenario, I think. So,
but you could, in the same point, right, in the same breath, to defend here, Sam, right? Nobody's covered themselves in glory from a starting perspective. I mean, great, scored 4 goals against Grenada, but I mean, no, again, that's bad. I like Ferreira, but yeah, nobody just during this whole window. It's just there hasn't been that guy, right? That we've kind of had, in past, right? Now, obviously, in every other component of our team has just raised to a whole nother level, right? Maybe that's a reason. But yeah, nobody's really kind of stepped up. So it'll be interesting to see who gets the chance in Qatar and then who really cements themselves in history, Austin.
I'd love to see Daryl DK personally. I'd love to see him on the roster. Yeah. We'll see what happens. I know right now things aren't looking so hot, but
I know. But Austin, I know. Yeah, Sam. I'm glad you pulled up that comment there for prediction. 3-0 Salvador. Haji gets one there. Ferreira comes in, scores one. But we'll complain because he misses one also. For a while. Oh yeah. There's been some serious debate on what goal scoring chances and all those different statistics in the data. So, that's a whole nother rabbit hole.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
So I guess maybe we should pivot now to our final question for tonight. And I know we asked about players who, stock went up right this window. But if you had to take into account tonight's game and what your prediction for tonight's game is, who is your, I would say USMNT player of the window? Which player, single player, would you say has had the best window?
Yeah, let's hear these comments. Let's see, guys. Player of the window here. So I think Austin to start off. It's been so weird. So I feel like I'm basing it more on the friendlies and what I saw with again Morocco and Uruguay. I think I would almost lean. I'm gonna go attacking sense. I'm gonna go Brendan Aronson.
Okay, all right.
We'll swing there. I think he really showed his worth and value in the midfield in that 10 type of role. How valuable he is on the wing or being mobile and adaptable. He's giving Berhalter and all of us headaches of why we're debating our midfield or our winger options. Mm-hmm. Because he is, I think Weston said he's a gnat in training, right? He just won't go away. He's relentless. You can see his willingness to learn and grow and desire to take his game to the next level. He's making that Leeds move and that jump. He really showed himself well against some of this World Cup competition we're going against, and that he could hang. I know I think Honduras was a game a while back when qualifying started and the heck started that people were criticizing him, but he's really kind of put that to bed, put that in the past for now. And I think for the small sample size of this window, I'm going to make the case that Aronson showed that he belongs and really could be that starter here with the team.
Yeah, I think Aronson's a great shout and also starting tonight too. So, I think another good test for him to, again, prove he can break a team down or help break a team down in the final third when they're bunkered in. I see Jaron here says, to be honest, Pulisic, more on how he has stepped up as a leader. I really think Pulisic's another one.
The hair, Austin.
Yeah, of course. It's the hair. It's everything else he's done the past few weeks. But yeah, I think Pulisic's another good shout. He really is kind of rounding into a great leader for this team. And again, that's what we wanted from him, right? We wanted him to take charge of this team after what happened in 2018 and kind of, put that chip on his back in terms of being a leader for this team. And yeah, I think this window, he showed that very well. Again, another opportunity tonight to kind of add to that goal tally for the window. So I think that's another great shout, Jaron. And then Sam says Weah for me.
Yeah,
so
that's good.
Yeah, I think Weah just, again, we talked about this a little bit earlier in the stream as well. The past, 6 to 8 months?
Qualifying. You can say for qualifying.
Yeah, all throughout qualifying, he's really just shown that he's a great option. He's someone who really is dynamic on the wing, someone who puts defenses under pressure. Again, with some of that, timing his runs, right? He's so good at timing his runs and really pushing defenses on the counterattack. I really think Wei has been positive this window, and again, positive throughout World Cup qualifying. So, yeah, I think that's a good shout, Sam. I think you also got to give the shout to Jesus Ferreira, right? He's looked decent. I would say he's looked better than decent, even in the game time he got in the first 2 friendlies. Obviously, had the 4 goals last game. I really think if he can, get some game time tonight and add to that tally, I think again, just again getting continuity, right? That was the big point I said earlier in the stream was just having more of that continuity, showing that he's confident playing with the players that are currently on the field. I think that just is another notch for him, and another reason why he could be, player of this window for the USMNT.
Yeah, again, I think he understands what the stakes are up. It's very much in the air for that position.
Yeah, and he's trying to own it.
Yeah, he's trying to own it. So, also it would be a good test to score some goals here. And yeah, again, maybe not the best games, right, for those friendlies too, but in the same breath, there are the little things he does. And I think Aronson said in an interview, and some of the other players, going with the reporters, that Ferreira, the goals will come here. We see it in training, but if you're looking at live in the game and looking back on and watching his movement, how he's able to even, communicate and connect passes in the final third and just be that outlet, but also kind of track back. And he's very much akin to what Berhalter's system and what he wants to do and implement. And I think that's why Berhalter has been giving him so many chances, is that he is, he has the mind. He's very intelligent in terms of, again, like I said, movement, how he sees the game. So similar to, again, guys, I don't want to compare it. Just don't take this direct comparison, right? But Firmino-esque in the way how he sees the game, and maybe Firmino's not scoring all those goals tremendously, but all the other little things, the space he opens, just kind of the ability for other players, right, to roam and operate, centrally and pull defenders out, I think is really important. Kind of that unsung hero per se, even if he isn't scoring hat tricks all the time.
Yeah, I think it's a really interesting comparison, but I don't think you're wrong. I think there's
how many times have I said Firmino in the stream? I'll stop.
Yeah. So cool.
Awesome. Well, guys, I think we're gonna kind of head out with the stream here, but thank you all for joining again. We appreciate the comments here to get excited for this El Salvador game, wrapping up the window. We have some exciting content coming out, Austin. I think we're putting together some of our, potential World Cup squads, some of the best players, young American players under 25, and other kind of fun lineup and video ideas we have. So guys, check out, Instagram. Austin's killing it, right, with some of these posts and videos here. And then obviously YouTube too. We're going to be putting out some great content for you guys. And of course, some live streams. Some transfers, other episodes, Austin. We'll be doing the full gamut here with the new season.
Yeah, exactly. So, thanks again, guys, for watching tonight. Get yourself a beverage, get yourself a snack, and turn on that TV.
Let's get the win.
That's right. Thanks, everyone.
Take care, everybody.